Good evening, it's meteorologist Michael Fecka. Welcome back to the 9 p.m. all-weather, all-streaming show that we do here every night during the workdays and on weekends. We stream it out to all of our streaming platforms as well as to Facebook Live. So if you are joining us from Facebook Live and as well as YouTube Live, please feel free to leave a question or a comment down below. Hopefully I'll be able to address anything that you might have as I go through the forecast, but if not, I'll go through at the very end and see if I can answer any questions individually for you. But let's get started here with our headlines. Well, as we go through the rest of the night tonight, most of us will stay dry. We do still have some decaying showers moving in from the north, most of which are drying up before they even reach the tri-state. However, some models do have a few of those sprinkles making it down into our region overnight tonight, but it'll be a very stray chance. Again, most of us will stay dry, and then we even have the chance for a few more isolated showers, primarily Sunday morning. I'll show you what that looks like on the model data, but it does look like a lot of that may end up staying to our east. But regardless of those very, very slight stray shower chances that we have this weekend, we are going to stay mostly dry and hot as we go through much of next week. And then looking ahead to next weekend, it already looks like we'll have a front moving through, and that may cool us back down to at least around average for this time of year by the end of next week. So the heat does come to an end. We've just got to get through the next 5 more days of high temperatures. But today we warmed all the way back up into the lower 90s. We topped out at around 92 here in Evansville, Bowling Green, and down towards Paducah. Up north, where they had some of those showers and even a few thunderstorms towards Indianapolis, that actually kept them on the cooler side. 80 degrees up north and 73 up towards Fort Wayne. But just over to the west in Springfield, you can see they topped out in the upper 90s. So folks in central and northern Indiana that saw some of those rain showers and even a few thunderstorms, that really helped keep those temperatures down for them. So that is good for them, but it's still got plenty hot for us. Current temperatures, we've cooled down a good bit. We are sitting at around 75 degrees right now in Evansville, 77 there in Newburgh, and sitting at around 76 towards the east there in Huntingburg. Most of us are sitting in the mid to upper 70s at this point in time. But let's take a look at our current satellite and radar just to get an idea of what is going on across the U.S. We've got this big ridge of high pressure that's kind of built in across much of the eastern half of the U.S., and then we've got this large trough that's building in across the western half of the U.S. So this is where we're seeing a lot of the unsettled weather across the country right now, is through the central plains and into the mountains there. We're seeing scattered shower activity through areas like Colorado, into Nebraska, Kansas, as far north as Wyoming, Montana, into the northern plains. That is likely going to stay off to our west. The showers that we're concerned with, or not really concerned with, but may impact us, are actually kind of coming from the north, and they're kind of riding in along the top of this ridge. So that's why they're kind of weakening as they make it towards the tri-state. You can see we've got maybe one sprinkle that's showed up there just north of Jasper, but as these little green splotches just continue to fall to the south, they dissipate. But with that being said, I still keep that slight chance for a sprinkle or a shower overnight tonight. But we do still have that opportunity for a few isolated showers, or as we get into early Sunday morning. You'll notice a lot of that does stay to the east of the tri-state. However, the models have been bouncing this batch of showers back and forth. They keep it over Louisville for one run, and then they bring it back over to the tri-state for the next. So as what I stated earlier is, I think the best chance, if there are going to be any showers early tomorrow morning, it would be mainly east of I-69. Most of us will likely again stay dry, as the models have kind of been pushing this off to the east over the last couple of runs. But outside of those few showers early in the morning, we may see a thunderstorm pop up in the afternoon. A lot of the models have kept that just to the southwest of the tri-state, so we may just end up very well dry through much of Sunday afternoon with mostly sunny skies, and then everything kind of quiets down as we get into Sunday night and into Monday morning. But looking at the forecast through tonight, temperatures drop down into the mid to upper 60s. Winds will be out of the southeast between 2 to 5 miles per hour. And then tomorrow will warm right back up into the lower 90s through the afternoon. Partly cloudy with maybe a stray shower in the morning, becoming drier and more sunny as we get through the afternoon. And in terms of temperatures, I mentioned before, we're going to be dealing with these above average temps into the 90s through much of next week. And the temperature outlook here kind of confirms that from the Climate Prediction Center there. So looking looking at the temperature trend, average highs are usually in the low to mid 80s for this time of year. We're well above that by around 10 degrees above that for much of next week, at least through Wednesday. And then as we get into Thursday, we'll drop a few degrees, but we're still hanging out in the lower 90s. And then Thursday night into Friday, we'll have another cold front come through. That will cool our temperatures down as we head towards next weekend, back to around average. And it also may bring us another chance for some scattered shower activity. So really, outside of tomorrow early in the morning, a stray shower, we are going to stay pretty dry through much of next week. And then as that front moves through, we could see a few showers for the end of next week. But again, that is at the end of this forecasting period. I never put too much faith in cold fronts 7 days out, especially when we've just been so dry and so hot. A lot of the times they kind of fizzle out. But I'll show you what that looks like on our longer range European model. So high pressure kind of just hangs out to our east through much of next week, keeping us dry Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, even much of the day on Thursday. We're going to be just fine. Then we see this area of low pressure develop out of the Central Plains, kind of moves over Iowa and then into the Great Lakes region. And that's where we start to see maybe a front try to get dragged through here in the tri-state, and that may conjure up some scattered shower activity. And depending on how this low moves, we may continue to see that chance for some unsettled weather through next weekend with a few more spotty showers. But overall, again, doesn't really look like anything going to be moving in that's going to provide us with a widespread, good soaking rainfall. A lot of this is just kind of accumulating shower chances, which really doesn't help us out in terms of our drought all that much. You can see even just by next weekend, we still only pick up a few tenths of an inch of rain throughout the entirety of next week. So still expecting very little to no rain chances for the next 7 days, pretty much outside of overnight tonight, a stray shower, and the same thing for early tomorrow morning. We have to wait until the end of next week. And here's a look at our current drought monitor. This actually updates every Thursday, and this just updated, a few days ago, and still seeing the worst of the drought showing up across much of the western U.S., which is very typical for this time of year. But here in the tri-state area along the Ohio River and the Mississippi River, we are experiencing some moderate levels of drought. Even some severe drought is getting picked up across portions of southern Illinois, whereas the northeastern corner of the tri-state not really showing much of that drought condition just yet. However, we are going to stay mostly dry here for the next several days, so we'll likely continue to see that drought expanded into next week. And with it being so dry, of course, there are still burn bans in place. Of course, any counties that you saw in red there, that's where those burn bans are in effect. So continue to check with your local officials if you can use a bonfire, or if you can't, you really shouldn't at this point in time, because we haven't really had any rain. Until we get some rain, those burn bans will likely stay in place. But looking outside of the tri-state, so while the weather fairly quiet here, we are starting to see maybe some more tropical activity pick up. We've got our 7-day tropical outlook in the National Hurricane Center highlighting this particular area through the central Atlantic over the next 7 days, giving it a 60% chance of developing into a storm. And if it were to develop into the storm, that would make it the 7th named storm of the year. The last storm we had was Fernand, and the next one named would be Gabriel. So that brings us up to the G. So we've had a below average year up to this point in time, but again, we still have a whole other half of hurricane season. It doesn't come to an end until November. So we've got a long way to go. Hopefully we can keep things quiet and we don't have any huge disasters here in the United States. We've had enough of that last hurricane season. We certainly don't need that this time around. So hopefully it could stay quiet. But here's a look at your 7-day forecast here in the tri-state, just to kind of wrap it all up for you. Staying fairly dry through much of the next 7-day period. Our best chances for maybe a shower or two are going to be overnight tonight and into very early tomorrow morning. Again, very, very stray chances, not expecting much out of that. And then as we go through next week, we stay mostly dry with temperatures hanging out in the low to mid 90s up until a cold front moves through Thursday night into Friday. That'll cool the temps back down into the 80s for next weekend and also bring us some slight chances for a few more showers for Friday and into next weekend as well. So that is all I've got for the forecast here. I'm going to check out the comments below. If you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you. Or if you just have any comments, please feel free, send them off. It looks like Tanya is watching from Rumsey, Kentucky. And Cheyenne says, good evening. Well, good evening to both of you guys. I'm not seeing much comment action here, so I'm going to hop off the live stream. I'll send you guys over to 14 News at 10 for all the latest news and weather headlines. Of course, until then, everybody stay safe and have a great rest of your night.